So let's have a look at how we actually key in a manual road inside SiteMaster. So with the software open, we're going to select File and New. So we're just creating a new project. We're not here to look at some of the other elements of SiteMaster. We want to go straight into this keying in of a road. So we're going to go to Design, Roads and Manual Road Entry and just select New. So that now takes us into the manual road entry screen where we have a number of tabs. We've got alignment, offset string, profile and cross section. For this session we're going to be working with alignment, profile and cross section. So you're going to follow me now with the sheet that you've got in front of you. So the first thing we want to do is, where do we want to start this road? So we're going to start at chainage 0 and we're going to put some coordinates in. Before we do that, let me just show you how we can hide or reorder these tabs. We can just right click on any tab and just select hide column because we're not going to be using spirals. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then we can now go in and we can type in the coordinates for the start change of our road. So that's going to be 413.053.911 for the easting, and then for the northing we're going to type in 456.9576.979. And our first element is going to be a straight, so we're going to click on the next line and choose the option for straight. Chainage is 0, that's fine. And we're going to key in a bearing, which is 55 degrees, and an azimuth, which is going to be, and a length, which is going to be 30 meters. And now if we click in the next line, we get a straight, and we've automatically updated our coordinates if I just move that over. We're now going to move on to an arc. So automatically the change is updated, and what we want to key in here is our length, which is going to be 48. So we're going to put 48 in here, and the radius of this arc is going to be 45 degrees. I'm going to click in here. Now we're going to go back to a straight, so we're just going to key in straight, and we're going to put in a length of that straight element, which is only short, it's 7.5. I'm going to click down here, and that's our profile keyed in. So you can see here it's now going to change 85.8. So let's click on the profile tab and do exactly the same thing. So this is for the vertical element of the line. So chainage 0, and we're going to put a level in here of 52. And before we key in anymore, let me again explain that we can right click on these columns and we can choose hide, or we can even insert columns. So for example, grade, if we knew the grade from one vertical element to the other, we could key that in. We're going to keep this real simple and just do station and elevation, or chainage. So chainage 20 has an elevation of 50 and 40, and as you can see, as we're keying this in, as with the horizontal element, it's being drawn on the screen for us. So 40 has a chainage 40 has an elevation of 47, 60 has an elevation of 44, 80 a chainage and an elevation of 41, and our last one, which is 85.5, has a level of 40 meters. So we've keyed in two elements so far. We've keyed in the horizontal element and the vertical element. Let's have a look now at the cross section. So again, you can right click, you can hide these columns, you can configure the order, you can just move them around left to right. So let's just come out of that and refresh that screen a second. So the first thing we have to do is we have to put in the center line. So center line has 0 offset, and we're going to put in a code for center line and an elevation, which is 52. And let's just put our 0 offset in there as well. So the next element, which is going to be our right channel, has an offset of 2 meters. We're going to call it right channel, and it has a crossfall of -2, so 2%, and that's drawn in for us. The next thing we're going to do is key in the next element, which is going to be our top of curb. So again, chainage 0, This time our offset, we're going to change something very slightly, and we're just going to move this back so it's 2.01, so just 10 mil. We're going to call it RTK for right top of curb, and this time instead of a cross wall we're going to put an elevation difference in of 0.1, so I want to project that up 0.1 of a meter, 100 mil, which looks like so on the graphics. And then finally for the right side of the road we're going to key in the back of path, which is 3.01, and we're going to call that RBP, and we're going to put in a crossfall of -2, and now we have the right segment of the road completed. So basically what we want to do now is do this for the left side of the cross section. So same figures. The offset this time are going to be minus, so -2, left channel, LCH, crossfall is also -2, so it's falling away from the center line. And then the left top of curb, so again chaining 0, offset of -2.01, and that's going to be LTK. And then again it's a 100 mil elevation difference, so we just key that in, and you can see all these screens update automatically for us. And then 0 change again for the left back of path, which is going to be -3.01, and we're going to call that LBP with a crossfall of -2%. Okay, so that's our template built, but again let's just refresh that from the center line you have to key in the distance, not from each element onwards. So in other words, not from here to here, here to here, but always from the center line. That offset is keyed in, so you have to add the distances, if you will. So what do we get now? Let's go and have a look. We've got our alignment, which is our horizontal element. We have our profile, our vertical element, and we have our cross section. So let's make sure we save this. So we're going to say File and Save Entry, and let's create some things. So first of all, let's create a road. So what do we want to call the road? So we're going to call it Alignment 1 as the default. The design surface is what we're going to make, and we need to put some information in for the cross sections. So we'll say we want them every 5 meters because it's a really short road, both in straight and curve. And you can see our changes appeared here, and we'll say OK, and just choose alignment name Alignment 1, and that now takes us into the full roads module, but we're going to look at that a little bit later on. So I'm just going to close that down, and if we just click on the survey tab and choose zoom extents, there's the road we've keyed in. But let's go and make a model of that road. So we can go back to our road entry and choose the option for File and Create Surface. So again, a number of different options. What do we want to call the DTM? Well, we can call it Design Road. And again, the default spacing is carried over from where we created the road, so we can just say OK. And we now have a DTM. So what's some of the options we can look at with the DTM? Well, we can have a look at that in 3D. So what we do is highlight all the data, so you can say Control and A, which draws a window around the data. Right click on the screen and choose the option for 3D. So we've got the current selection of everything we've chosen. We need to click and select the model, and we're going to choose OK. And we're now presented with the road we've just designed very quickly inside our 3D visualizer. And if we zoom in, we can actually drive down this road. So I can just say View, Alignment, put the height of the driving level. So I'm going to make this quite low at 0.5 meter and say OK. And we're now driving along the road we've just designed. So very basically, there we go. We're ready to upload that data now. So quite simply, rather than sat in the field in the comfort of the office, you've keyed in a road, full 3D road, horizontal element, vertical element, and cross-section element, and we're now ready to export that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to look at the more complex road design.